Oh, well, peace, 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 and blessings, everybody. I think I have hair all over me. I start off with hair all over me. How's everybody doing? Oh my gosh. It has been such a long minute. But believe me, I have been recording. I recorded at least two videos and I just didn't upload them. I wasn't I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to upload them. Happy summer. I missed the solstice with you guys, the summer solstice. We are officially in summer and it's hot. It's hot and there's a lot of stuff going on. So much has gone on. Um, honestly, since May, because, I made some major changes in my life in May and I've just been adjusting to all of the energies, to the changes. Whew, just to a lot. But cross your fingers that I will upload this one. I am all natural today. I didn't cut my hair, and the video is not really doing my beautiful locks too much justice, but I think you kind of get the point. I am a hairy, not hairy, but what do you say? Some people say they're foodies. I'm not. I like food, clearly, but I am a hair person. Let's put it that way. I am a hair person. So let's get started. This is Oracle Deborah with the Oracle Deborah podcast on YouTube. I am recording on a very special day. This is actually a mini portal today, 7/7, July 7. And even when you add in the year, it breaks down for a special number for me. It breaks down to the number 23, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, 14, 20, yeah, 23. And 2 plus 3 equals 5. So 5 is actually a special number for me. 5 is all about change. And this is a lot. There is a lot of change going on. A lot. Uranus moved into Gemini today. And so we will get a snapshot of how that energy is going to play out before it retrogrades. I think it starts retrograding in the fall, if I'm not mistaken, and it will go back into Taurus. I think in November or something to that effect. I don't have the exact dates on me, but we are experiencing there's a new ingress, which is Uranus in Gemini. Uranus had been in Taurus since I think 2018. So a lot of Tauruses have been feeling, the effects of the unexpected planet, which is Uranus. I even pulled cards for myself today, just asking different questions, things like that. And it was like juiciness to drama, to juiciness to drama. And I was like, what is this? It like seemed like it was on a trajectory and it was something which is the next card would totally shift the entire energies. And then it dawned on me, I said, this is Uranus. This is Uranus. Expect the unexpected. It can go either way at any given time. Uranus also rules lightning, for those of you who didn't know that. So Saturn, if I'm not mistaken, is also, it ingressed into Aries, I believe, back in May, early June. Again, I don't have the dates in front of me, but it is going retrograde, if not already soon. And it's going to retrograde back into Pisces, if I'm not mistaken, at 25 degrees before, excuse me, and it will be there for quite a few months before it goes forward again, and then eventually move back into Aries and, and be done with Pisces completely. But let me tell you, For those of you who have been watching my previous videos, there were a lot of car accidents during that Saturn and Pisces um, transit for me. And so, whatever was going on in your life with that transit, if it was juicy, then great. If not, I would say double down, make sure you like whatever changes you made, make sure they stay in effect, make sure you double down, whatever the case may be. For me, like I said, it was moving vehicles. So I just had to do speed limits, which I do. I didn't change that. But just like being careful, because if you end up being late for an appointment, you want to kind of make that yellow light, don't try it. Like for me, like don't try it. Just stop, stay in my lane, all those things, it's like granny driving, I call it. But, it's the driving, it's the shift that I had to make to be here to stay alive, basically. Mercury is soon to go retrograde, so you all know how that goes. I think it's already in the shadow. Yesterday I was just chilling. That was like I sort of vegged out this weekend, and but not yesterday. That my modem, my internet just went kaput. That's it. And I ended up spending all day troubleshooting, and eventually was forced to go and get a rental um, from my ISP provider, which those rentals are expensive. But it's just temporary until I could figure something out. So I felt Mercury retrograde yesterday, even in its shadow. So generally with Mercury retrograde, they say to be careful of contracts you're signing. You'll miss the details, so pay attention to details. Your words might get slurred up. Your technology will be disrupted, which is interesting because Uranus also rules technology. Um, so yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, so much. I can't recount it all. I wish I had like just written notes and just jotted everything down because I would be here just basically for the next 20 minutes, recapping everything that's been going on. We know that there was a horrible flood in Texas yesterday. A lot of camp children and counselors um, were taken out, unfortunately, um, as a result of that flooding, which is horrible. Philly is in the middle of a strike. Trash is piling up. When you know trash, there's disease, there's all kinds of sicknesses that can come from that. And it's just a lot of furor as a result of that strike. Uh, I think LL Cool J is standing up for the workers, which is cool. LL Cool J, no pun intended. um, but I saw pictures of that trash and it was horrific. And Philly, that's my hometown. I love it. And it's always had a reputation of, the trash, even with regular trash, coming or whatever. It's always had this reputation of trash. And years ago, there used to be a sheep factory right off of 95. So just as you're entering Philly, you would smell this horrible smell. And it was the sheep factory. So, but people made a living. We made a living off of factory work. And we were able to make, a livable salary. It was livable, at least. And in Philly, things, even though the taxes were not as high as New York, there were still tons um, of, of great shopping deals and things like that. They had the Italian market in South Philly. They had all other types of markets in other parts of Philly. I mean, it was doable. And right now, a lot of things are just not doable. Um, the economy, everything is just, it's just a little, it's rough, it's just rough. And Some people are doing well. If you were able to, I don't know, if you were able to set aside a great pension at, in your older years, then you're mostly okay, you know. But inflation is inflation, so it's eating into everybody's, pocket a little bit. If you're able to work and get a decent salary and you are American and particularly Black American, you're good. If you're able to get multiple streams of income in, that's great. Just know that that is not a fate for everybody. It's just not, you know. Some people are just good to have that one job. They can handle that one job or that one small business or whatever it is, and they have to lock in on that one thing. A lot of this depends on what's in our charts. A lot of it. Sometimes I hear young folks like complain about their parents this and parents that, but they don't understand that some of them grew up in two-parent households. And then no, two-parent households doesn't make things perfect at all. And people would like to make this lopsided things like this is what happens in a one-parent household. There's a lot of dysfunction and a lot of violence that goes on in two-parent households. A lot. So let's not be delusional there. Okay. I know Saturn is retrograding back, and Neptune I think is on a retrograde if I'm not mistaken, or will be. But when Neptune was in Pisces, we came out of a Piscean era where everything was delusional. Delusions. Yes, there was a lot of inspiration. Yes, there was a lot of spirituality, but there was a lot of illusions. We came out of a Piscean era. And that's why you're seeing so much truth come out, deep secrets or secrets that were not necessarily secrets known to certain circles, but now it's just now known to throughout the world. You know, all these things are coming out. You have the Diddy trial, a lot of stuff came out. People who were even in that circle said things came out that they didn't know about as a result of that trial. Um, I did not uh, follow, by the way, his trial like that because I just knew whatever was going to come out was just going to be as gross as the things that were coming out that caused this domino effect anyway. Okay. What I didn't like is that the prosecutor, I don't know what they're doing, but if you're going to charge someone with something as serious as RICO, you're going after people's money, basically. There is a pattern, though. I'm not condoning, I absolutely don't condone violence or all of this crazy freak out stuff. That's just, not my thing. Okay. Um, and I certainly felt the energy when I was younger, when I got around certain, and you go to the club with your friends or you meet certain people and there's just a certain, and when I got too close to that environment, I felt it, and people knew I didn't belong, and I knew I didn't belong, and so I just went on about my way. So now you got people 25, 30 years later saying, hey, this happened to me, yada, yada, yada. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe they thought some people can handle certain things. I knew I couldn't. Okay. But anyway, with the Diddy trial, so yeah, he got off on two major things, and that's a problem if the DA or the prosecutors are going to come after someone with bogus charges and have them spend all their money, to basically prove their innocence, to defend their innocence. It's their job to prove guilty. Um, and they didn't do it. And, we pay for that. Taxpayers pay for that. So, it's not good. And now there's backlash with these escorts or, you know, male prostitutes who are now coming back at Cassie and Diddy. So she set things in motion. I don't know who encouraged her to do it, but now it's coming back to haunt her. And I would, that tells me there wasn't long-term thinking going on with this thing. Okay. Because now the money she's got, more than likely she's gonna give up a lot of that money too. So basically everybody's going back to square one, where it's like cut your loss and move on. Just move on, cut your losses, I guess. But a lot of people are scared of Diddy. And so that's give this whole thing is giving people courage to speak out, because there's I guess they have more, support behind them. Um, so anyway, moving on from that, again, lots of things going on, fires, flooding, heat. Um, this heat has been insane. And then a couple of days ago, I was like, why are my sinuses bothering me? It's because the temperature had dropped drastically. And then it went back up to 90 the next day. So all of this is a little bit insane. I told you I did some videos. I talked about, maybe this is why I didn't post it because it was like maybe too close to when I made these changes. But I had like a small part-time job I was doing in banking, and I was trying to integrate that with some of the things that I was doing, and it just was not working out at all. And I took a risk when I took this, position, and it should have worked well, and it made sense for it to work well. But when you honestly, I was Scorpio males, just it's just over the top, which reminds me of Nelly and um, what's her name, Ashanti, and the things that's going on with them sounds so very familiar to what I experienced. And they'll people will blame Ashanti because they say you saw the flags, you saw the red flags, and you move forward anyway. It's that biological clock that gets us in trouble. It's that tick, 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 tick. Time is running out. Puts the pressure on us, and we make decisions that are not for our highest and best good. So she's closer to 40. I didn't have my um, child until I was 28. So I was 27 when that seed was planted in me, and there was that tick, 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 tick going on, just literally screaming in your head. That biological clock is a decision making killer. And because you're running against time, you got to do this now, or it may never get done. And, there's all that. I mean, it really does a job on us as women. Um, I don't know who put that one in play, but clearly, if what's her name, Abraham's wife, Sarah, could have a baby at 90 something, you know, that should at least allow us to give us some leverage there. Okay. Tick, 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 tick. It is horrible. It's like a time bomb going on in our heads. You got to do this. You got to make this. Well, I know him. I'm comfortable with him. Or we've been together for a long time. Or this is the first person that, I got this close with. And, it tick, 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 tick. It makes you rationalize the irrational. And ultimately, we find ourselves getting caught up with energies. I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the energies that are not for our highest and best good. What man doesn't want to dote on his child? If you listen to people have an issue with Cam Newton. But, he's like, "Oh, more babies." Yes, he has to be balanced and make sure he can pay for all those babies and all those households and all those things. But he dotes on his children. Even though he can't be there, he's not saying, listen, that's not for me. He wants the babies. And yes, they're two different men and they're two different goals and things like that. I get that. But I'm just the Scorpio men are just, whew, which is why I ended up leaving the part-time job I had for a Scorpio male. It's like that energy is just, it's insane. When you have Pluto basically sitting in the host of a Martian, basically, it's 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 a time. It's that's not even just a time bomb. That's just dynamite. It's just dynamite. Some of them will open the doors for you, and the whole time they are plotting and scheming and manipulating it. It's just over the top. And Ashanti is a Libra. She's like, I want justice. That's what Libra is all about, justice, 50-50. She will never get it. He is literally chipping away at her um, at her power because Pluto is all about power, and you're not going to outpower Pluto. So all these little things is chip, 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 chip. She's not, yeah, she's not going to reel him in, but he's definitely going to. He's Pluto men, and no disrespect to all men who are Pluto, right? Because a lot of it has to do with the other things that are in your chart. But when you get this archetype of the Pluto male, i.e., the Scorpio male, this particular archetype, and a lot of them are like that. I'm sorry, but a lot of them are because it's the energy, right? It's not saying that they're worthless, they're not. Look how successful Nelly is. Um, some of them work, some of them don't. Some of them get up every day and take care of their families, some of them don't. You understand what I'm saying? It's, it's a whole gamut of them. It runs the whole gamut in terms of how well they do in society. But the one thing I do know is Pluto is transformation, and there's always going to be death, life, and rebirth, which means it's a constant ending, it's a constant change, it's a constant manipulation because there has to be an ending. There has to be. So that energy is going to chip away at that Libran, i.e., Ashanti energy, and you know, and not to say that Libras are, they have their own manipulative style. They'll do whatever to keep the peace, you know. So I'm not really interested in how that's going to turn out. I just know that I don't see her, I don't see Justice hanging in with a Plutonian forever. And if she does, she's going to change drastically because that's what that energy does. And I know I'm taking this from a totally different perspective and angle and all of that, but that's what I do. That's what I do. Um, so I don't remember, I got distracted and digressed a little bit. So I am going to do my best. I'm sweating like crazy too. I think my air is hasn't come on yet because I have it on timer. So excuse all of this, but I'm actually enjoying sweating some of this energy out. But anyway, like I said, lots of changes. Happy belated Father's Day to everybody. Happy belated July 4th. Happy belated Juneteenth to everyone. That was another thing. There was Juneteenth. Um, I think I took a break right around the time, right after the big blow up of the statue in New York. And like, oh, that energy was negative. And yeah, there's a lot of blowback still from that. But I have a great story for you to end this off. But yeah, I left like right around that time, like the blowback from all of that. That's when I took a break. I've had some health issues, some scares actually. Had a big health scare that also played a part in me finally making this decision because it's like the universe is like, I need you to get the hell up out of there. I need you to get out of this workplace. And there have been, messages after messages for the whole year or so, 18 months, 12, 15 months or whatever that I was there, 16, 17, maybe 17 months I was there. No, I would say about 15, 16 months. But anyway, it was one thing after another. But this last health thing came up because I had not been sick for years prior to going back into the workplace. And um, there was sicknesses and accidents and all kinds of craziness going on. So this one last thing, um, yeah, it almost took me out, literally, or it attacked my organs, literally. Let's put it that way. And I'm still under a professional medical, you know, um, directives to monitor, this thing. So that was that. So there was that, and you know, just a lot. It's just, I had to deal with another injury that I had just been ignoring, hoping it would like just kind of get better on its own, and it didn't. It kept coming back. So now I'm in physical therapy for that, and then that precipitated issues with immigrants who have flooded the medical market um, as leaders, and they don't want, they're kind of continuing on with this white supremacy thing where they don't want Black Americans coming to the medical offices, which is like, what the hell? Um, so there's that. There's conflict with that. There's making tests. All I can say for me has just been a lot of tests. Everything right now is a test. Am I saying no on the spot unequivocally, or am I allowing, you know, things to go on that I should not tolerate, or, and we all make these different decisions. You don't want to appear like, I'm not running, I'm standing on my square, but at the same time, if the universe wants you to like be like, no, then you need to just say no and not look back. So just a lot of tests going on. There's a lot going on with the energies, a lot of transits that I missed. Like I said, I thought I would get some really juicy energy with when Venus ingress into Taurus. And for me, it was just calm. But it wasn't calm without, um, other dramas coming in. The things are still happening because there are other transits going on that are affecting my chart, and I know that they're probably affecting your chart. So I'm telling you this, I feel more Uranian energy than anything else. It is just like a hit to you get a blow, which is just like, I'm done. Like, I just like, this is ridiculous. And then you get, when the heels of that, it's like the patience kicks in and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to stress. I just have to deal with it when I deal with it. And then some semi solution comes in and then you're like, oh, I'm good. But then 2 days later, something else comes up and you're like, well, I'm not good. And that's what the energy has been like. I'm good. No, I'm not good. Damn it. And it's just like, well, whatever. I'm done. I'm done stressing over this stuff. And then it's like, oh, maybe I am good. Oh, maybe I'm not. This is what it's been like. It's just been absolutely insane. So, happy birthday to our cancers. You know, this cancer season is one of my favorite seasons, actually. So happy birthday to cancers. The moon is in Sag right now. We're coming up on a full moon in Capricorn, and I'm feeling that Saturnian energy already as well. Saturn, Saturn does Saturn. It's just as potent as Pluto, honestly. Sometimes you crave Pluto after Saturn gets done with you. You know, um, and it's like it's never enough with Saturn. It's like no matter how much you've done or changed, Saturn's like, well, this is what you're supposed to do. People always say when you do these things, there's rewards and benefits. No, it's like this is what Saturn wants you to do. These are the changes Saturn needs you to make. And whatever you do and how much energy you put into it or focus and or you put into it, that's the reward you get. Like there's no pie in the sky reward. Like there's none of that going on at all. Okay, like none. So if you can only muster up just what you need to do to keep the basically the devil off your back, then that's your reward. You did as much as you could do to get the devil off your back. Okay, that's it. You know, if you were able to like lock in and focus more and whatever, then you may just get the reward of the satisfaction of completing something, but you won't get some special bonus because you did that either. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, there are no special rewards just because you did the work that Saturn is telling you better do it, or else, it's just going to get real, very real. So you do it, right? Because you are experiencing hardship and there are changes that need to be made, but there are no bonus points. There are no brownie points to this stuff. You just needed to do what you needed to do to get that monkey off your back, basically. So, Mercury is in Leo right now. Venus has moved into Gemini. Mars is in Virgo. Jupiter is also in Cancer. So you have the Sun and Jupiter in Cancer right now. Are we feeling a little more emotional? I'm not, but you may experience like I don't know, memories of the past or people from the past or something like that during this time period, depending again, whatever's in your chart. Saturn is in Aries, but that's going to be going retrograde. Uranus just moved into Gemini today, July 7th. And again, this is a portal day, 7-7. So take advantage of that. There was definitely this was a great day for the things I had on my calendar to do today. So it was a great day for that. And again, I have a great story for you, and we'll end up there, but let me finish going through this. Neptune is in Aries. So Aries, yeah, it's a little busy. Chiron is in Aries. So you got Chiron, Neptune, and Saturn in Aries. That's crazy. Because Neptune and Aries is like two different energies, and you put Saturn in there, and Saturn's the taskmaster, and then you got Chiron, the healer. It's crazy. The North Node is in Pisces. The Ascendant is in Scorpio. The Midheaven is in Virgo. And right now you have the Moon is trining Mercury, which Mercury again is, sorry, Uh, Mercury is in Leo. So the moon is trining Mercury in Leo, squaring Mars. Um, the moon is squaring Mars, and Mars, where did I say Mars was? In Virgo. And Virgo's an interesting sign as well. The low vibrational side of Virgo is a lot of anxiety, a lot overthinking, anxiety. Virgo is a great sign, but if you have harsh aspects to, in your chart in Virgo, it can really end up being a challenge. Um, so there's that. Venus is sextile Neptune. Venus is trine Pluto. Pluto, as you know, is in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Saturn, sextile Uranus. A lot of sextiles. Saturn's conjunct Neptune, of course. Saturn is sextile to Pluto. A lot of sextiles. Uranus is sextile to Neptune. Neptune is sextile to Pluto. Sun is sextile to Mars. Venus conjunct Uranus. Uranus is trine Pluto. Now Jupiter is squaring Saturn. Jupiter is squaring Neptune, and Pluto is squaring Chiron. So those are some of the weaker aspects. But a lot of trines. So things could be a lot more intense than they are, but they're intense enough. Oh, forgot the biggest thing, the war. Yeah, the expansion of the war. So all of that with Iran, Israel and Iran, and we get up in there, and so that's on pause for a moment. I don't know if they had a ceasefire. I guess they had a ceasefire. So that was huge. It's a lot going on. A lot has gone on. Um, I know I'm missing a lot of critical things. Oh, but like I said, I was too steeped in my own tests, and I'm still being tested, honestly. So, with that being said, today, like I said, is a beautiful portal day, 7-7. Seven is a very spiritual number. And I also mentioned that when you add up the whole date today, it comes up to the number 23, and then 2 plus 3, because we have to narrow down to a single number. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 is all about change. And I had a very important medical appointment this morning, a test, and it went off for about 10 minutes, and I was out there. I've never gone to an office for testing and was out of there in 15 minutes, basically. It was weird. Um, well, it took all of about, honestly, 10 minutes for the test itself, not the preliminary stuff. But yeah, I was out there and in and out in probably a half hour or less. Um, so, but I wasn't ready to come home. And so I decided, let me go pick up some treats for my dog. And then I saw a supermarket. I said, well, I don't normally go to the supermarket. And I said, I'll go in and do a quick run through and see if there's anything. And I picked up a couple of things and got in line, self-service line. And, one of the workers says, this self-service thingy is open, even though the light wasn't on or didn't appear to be on. So I said, okay, thank you. I said, I didn't know that the light was on. And I proceeded to check my items out. And she said, I loved your dress. And I looked up and I said, well, thank you. She's like, yeah, I really like that. I don't know if she said your dress, your outfit. I think she said your dress, whatever. Um, and then I said to her, and thank you for just saying that. And then she looked at me, I said, do you know how many times I'm out in the world because this happened yesterday, and I had to come out of my comfort zone and go to the, you know, internet provider's office to pick up this thing. And I really didn't want to go. And I had just been in a really funky mood the past few days because I did not want to socialize. I was just, that was just the mood I was in. I was just like, ugh. And when I'm like that, I know I definitely don't need to be out in public. So, and people were looking at me, I had this cute little yellow dress on. I was like, what is a black woman doing in a yellow dress? Honestly, I'm just like, you all have no concept. Depending on your environment, some people, I will say this, some people really see the beauty of color on black women, you know. And color is generally seen as not chic, you know what I'm saying? People like these bland colors, it looks cleaner and all this stuff. And I love color. But anyway, and I said, well, thank you for saying that because sometimes people look at me weird and they're like mean mugging me. And I'm like, why the hell are people mean mugging me? Like, you know? And she goes on to say, well, you know what that's about. And we ended up in a little bit of a girly conversation. And she turned out to be such a joy to talk to. So I actually want to dedicate this video to Christy because she was just an absolute joy um, to talk to because it has been so um, almost impossible to connect with anyone where I live, literally. And I've been here a long time. It is so rare, like almost non existent, to speak with another sister and they literally get what I was saying. Like, before I could even say things, she was saying things. I was like, yes, exactly. Like, and it's not that you need the validation, right? Because we stand on our square here, right? But I know when I go to my hometown, it's nothing for me to have a conversation with someone and we're on the same page. It's nothing, right? Because it's my hometown. And I'm thinking this is not my hometown, so I just will never really relate. You know what I'm saying? And to have someone to relate in the way that I generally perceive and process information, or as an older woman, if you will, have experienced things through the years and have seen enough. Okay. Um, and to have it be discounted or dismissed all the time because either someone's not from here and they're steeped into their own thought processes and culture, or someone is from this place and they have a different thought process and a culture and all of these things. But she was just an absolute joy, not because we did connect, but we connected so much so. And she gave me information I didn't know about. And I was able to share things with her. That was the thing. We had this bonding, unexpected bonding thing go on. And I just kept looking at her and I was like, she would just be someone I would just want to give a big old hug to because, and she might have seen it in my face. And she had to get back to work because they were kind of tugging and pulling at her, and we could have gone on for probably a good hour, which I'm glad we didn't, because, it was just enough. And I remember I was like, well, it was such an honor meeting you. And she opened up her arms and we just hugged each other. And I said to her, I love you. And she said, I love you too. And I said, keep doing what you do because she's an absolute blessing to Black women. And this was the thing that she said. She was like, we need to do this often. We need to be able to compliment each other. We need to be able to support one another. We don't have the luxury to be backstabbing each other and being with the petty jealousies and the competition. We don't have that luxury. And yet we still continue to do these things. And what bonded us is that we both felt and knew and expressed this need that we have to be there for one another. It kills no one to say to them, you look extraordinary. I love your outfit. I love the way you're rocking your outfit. And who does that hurt? Really? And it definitely didn't kill me when she said, for this was the first time, she wore her natural hair. Her hair was extraordinarily beautiful. But because of the pressures of the culture to get a perm and to wear blow dried and this and that, and it was just insane. That she felt like she couldn't wear and I mean, her hair was extraordinarily beautiful. So it's shocking to me the things we have done to each other. And, you know, sometimes, we're the older group now. And so our older women, they had their time period too. So you couldn't look a certain way, you couldn't perk your mouth a certain way, you were being sassy, and if you did this was that, all these things. And now you got the young people that just do whatever, however, whatever, and they still don't have relationships. They've not improved whatsoever in the terms of relationships. You know, they've moved the needle in terms of what they expect and not expect from the job, but even the employers are tired of them. They tolerate them. They're like, well, this is our future. They're like headhunters, Wow, thank you for giving me an actual resume. Okay. Yes, there are variables out here, people stealing your information. So people are like, I'm not putting that much in, and you know, but it doesn't matter because there's always a workaround with everything. But the point is, I had this unexpected bonding with this worker in this particular supermarket. And this is a supermarket where I go to. I don't even go in there. It's just that the pet store is right there in the same plaza. And so I rarely go in this supermarket. But she said to me, just know that you have, a friend. You have support when you come in here. You are accepted when you come in here. Like, you know, it was just honestly the most beautiful encounter ever. It really was. So I really do want to dedicate this video to Christy and all of my natural, okay, and all of my shrinkage. I love it. Um, that was how would I put this? That was literally, it was more than a silver lining in the midst of clouds. And yes, it had started raining and it was cloudy out there, but we're living in a shroud of clouds right now. It's the sun is in Cancer, um, but in Cancer is ruled by the moon. So, but everything we're living right now with this Uranian energy, expect the unexpected. We don't know what to expect from day to day, from minute to minute, from moment to moment. We don't know what to expect. And this was one of those juicy expect the unexpected. And all I kept saying when I left was, I have to remember this experience. And now that I'm thinking about it, I need to journal the experience. I have to lock in and remember the juiciness that happens in life and not dwell on the negative that always overtakes us in life. And that's the message today. Is whatever juiciness you come across in your day-to-day travels or your experience, if you meet someone new or whatever the case may be, the goal at this point is to really lock in on that and let that be the overarching thing that gets programmed into the subconscious. Because right now we are reprogramming our subconscious mind. We've done the work, we've done the shadow work, we've tackled the programming, the conditioning, all of that. All the things that didn't serve our highest and best good any longer. Maybe it did for a time, but no longer. We've looked the shadow in the eye. We've taken accountability, extreme accountability, and we've learned to integrate our shadow with with our light. We've learned to integrate that. We're like, okay, the shadow's going to always be the shadow. Our light is going to be our light. It's kind of like the movie Inside Out, right? You can't just have joy without sadness. You can't. You won't know joy unless you've experienced the sadness. That statement alone, I could tell you right now, I know it to be true, but even my heart is like saying, "What are you?" Yes, and it's like because you're almost scared that you're going to bring more sadness on just by saying that. I think that's the little ounce of fear I just felt. And as hard as it is, because that's the conditioning and the programming we've been brought up on, or we've conditioned ourselves to look for because our trauma, or, yeah, I would say our trauma has been so devastating. They were like, we just want some goodness. I just want to be happy. But happiness comes with community. So just as she said to me, Christy, you are accepted when you come in here. You are welcome when you come in here. You are family. She didn't say family. She didn't have to say family. She's like, you belong when you come in here. Like, this is a safe space. And I want to extend that to you. This is a safe space. When you come to my channel, this is a safe space. Yes, there will be hard truths spoken here. Yes, sometimes I will say what I have to say, and it won't be, you know, kumbaya-ish. But this is a safe space for you. So always know when you come to this channel, you are safe here. You are welcomed here. You belong here. And I just wanted to tell that really beautiful story of two strangers, two women, two Black, foundational Black American women who have come through our own journey and found each other in this moment in time where we validated one another. And we felt good in doing so. We were fed in doing so. It is a beautiful thing when you can talk to someone who gets you. You don't need someone to get you. But isn't it beautiful when someone gets you? And even though you don't need it, what you might experience is a whole bunch of other people that's constantly countering everything you say. Because it would be okay if someone doesn't agree or you have a bonding there. That's okay. Okay, we're mature enough to handle that. It is the daily, the repetitive energy of no, you're wrong, no, it's this, or why you think that way, why? It's that constant negativity of someone or people or energies. We'll just say energies, constantly trying to get you to shift, to change, to compromise. what you already know, to invalidate what what the universe has already spoken to you, what your heart has already spoken to you. I think that is the issue. It's not that we need the validation, it's just a barrage of constant energies telling you that who you are is not enough, with how you think is not good enough. And it's not good enough for them. And it's not great for them because it's not for them. It doesn't benefit them. That is the selfish energy that we come up against all the time. And yes, there's nothing wrong with being selfish, but when they're trying to make you, or they demonize you, demonize us because we're standing on our square, then we're managing other energies. How do we deal with that? How do we not process that in a negative way that's going to cause us to have to do more shadow work? How to not be defensive, because that's one of the things it might cause. How do we evolve from this? Like, or just, I just want to ignore that. Oh, okay, I try to ignore it. It's in my face. I'm gonna have to deal with it. Like all of that. So it's beautiful when we get blessed in these unexpected moments with a thing, a circumstance, a person, an energy, whatever, that validates what we already know, that confirms what we already know. And really, you just have a camaraderie. It's not even about the validation, it's the camaraderie there, you know? Um, yeah. It was just a beautiful experience, and I'm glad that I just wanted to share that. So, the goal at this point forward is to edit this video and to upload it. So you all will know that I'm back. And honestly, I'm too exhausted to do it now, but I'm going to make a commitment to myself and to you to come back tomorrow because I'm pretty happy with everything I've spoken today. Okay. I've been far enough removed from a lot of the unpleasantries that I've had to experience and in May, and just going through the transition of adjusting, and there's so much work to be done. Work I was doing, but not work that, but maybe I didn't need to do it. The universe is kind of taking care of me as I go along anyway. So yeah, expect the unexpected. Very Uranian. We are living in a very Uranian time. Um, and I think this is for our highest and best good, you know. Things aren't what they seem to be or what we were taught it was. They just aren't. And a lot of you know this. A lot of you have evolved well beyond this point. And yet we all still struggle. We all still have, there's all, work to be done, at least to the point where we can like, okay, we're good. Now we can focus on, you know, leaving our legacies, building our legacies, whatever that looks like for you, you know. But I know for me, I'm in a testing period and you may too. I told you a little while later, maybe I recorded the video, maybe not, I don't know. We were in the judgment, and that's not really the worst that things can happen. It's actually, in terms of tarot, it's actually a pretty good card because you're allowing things to come to light and to see things for what they are. So judgment is not really a terrible thing. It's not the demon that we were taught it was. But I will say this, I did get this image earlier today, and I'll close out here because the story about Christy was just amazing. So remember, this video It's dedicated to Christy, a food lion. What I did say is all the things, or many things, that we were taught in the Bible, the way it was interpreted to us, about there will come a time when the devil will be thrown into the abyss, and he will be, stuck there for 1,000 years, different interpretations around surrounding that story. And I don't remember um, what chapter or what book in the New Testament talks about that. Maybe Revelation, I'm not sure. But the image I got, I was looking at this video and I thought, I had a little bit of a revelation. I thought, are they talking about the devil or are they talking about the devil within? Are we talking about the ego, the killing of the ego? Because the Bible is very allegory. It's esoteric and it's also allegory. So is the devil really the ego, our ego, that needs to be tamed, needs to be kept at bay? Is it our ego that goes into the abyss, gets thrown into the abyss for a period of time as we heal, as we rebuild our own little paradise? I know Jehovah's Witnesses talk about that. The devil will be thrown into the abyss and we'll have a period of peace for 1,000 years before it's released again and there is a final judgment. I know there's a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses out there that know about that. I remember that. I wasn't Jehovah's Witness, but I certainly did study. My sister had no problems luring me into that energy for quite a while. That was another form of programming that was almost impossible to break. But that story right there today, it made me think that devil that they keep talking about could be our ego that we have subdued just enough so that we can go through our healing and reprogramming and reconditioning. Yeah, just enough so that we can have a time of peace within, where we're not controlled by that ego. We get the opportunity to rejuvenate our bodies, rejuvenate our minds, rejuvenate our souls, our spirits, to remember who we are. If you think about it, that's almost like the story of Moses and leading the children of Israel into the wilderness, away from Pharaoh, away from the harshness of slavery, self-imposed, in our case, self-imposed, not slavery, the physical slavery in America. I'm talking about the slavery of the mind, being caged in the mind from the teachings, the indoctrinations, the programming, from through all the interpretations, you know, and how we processed circumstances that occurred in our life, in our lives, and how that created a bigger issue down the road. We didn't know any better. We just did the best we could. So having the ego is like, how do I want to put it? So the ego would basically take the place of what they would say the devil thrown into the abyss. That's the Jehovah's Witness side of things. And then the Christian side of things, well, they say they're Christians too, but Christianity, if you will, it's like Moses and the children, leading the children to the wilderness to basically shed the energies of having been in bondage for so long. And that's why they have been there in the bondage for 40 years. And some of them never came. Some of them never emerged from their bodies. So I just wanted to throw that out. And this energy, this time period, this Aquarian age we're in, is having us rethink what we were taught on a regular basis. All kinds of things we naturally, quote unquote, believe. That when we're thinking about is that thing over there, that person over there, that entity over there, is really talking about us, our soul, the ego, our spirits. It's talking about us. So, yeah, I'll just leave you with that. All right, beloveds. Yeah, that's it. I'm starting to sweat again, so let me get on out of here. I love you. Again, you are, whenever you come into this space, this is a space where you belong, or where you are welcomed and you are loved here. You know, um, peace and blessings to everyone, safety to everyone. May you have a beautiful summer, memorable summer. But remember, we're in this Uranian energy. Expect the unexpected. So, of course, safety is always first. Okay. Have fun, but be mindful. Be mindful. Okay. That we are in this energy. So I send peace and love out to everyone. And I will upload this, I promise you. Okay. So please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, peace, peace.